Wow. First thing this morning, I'm reading World News, and here's Vladimir Putin. So Macron's like, well, I'm not ruling out sending troops to Ukraine to keep them from losing. And Vladimir Putin, the typical bully, typical fucking answer is, I'll beat you up too. And I look at little Ukraine, tiny economy, small population, trapped border to border with Russia. And they're handing the Russians their asses. Russia, no, think about this. Russia cannot establish air dominance. Russia has been unable to establish air dominance over Ukraine. They've lost, 6 aircraft this week alone, including 2 A-50s this month. Every single day, there's another refinery or munitions plant blowing up in Russia. There's obviously a large contingent of pissed off Russians, mixed/Ukrainians, because, there are a lot of Russians in Ukraine fighting Russians because they want Russia to be free of Putin. And Putin is going to say, I'll just kick NATO's ass if you guys interfere. Are you fucking kidding me? You see, this is the bully who realizes all of a sudden, especially now that Sweden is part of NATO. This is the typical bully realizing that individually he's been picking on people. But all of a sudden, one day the bully comes to school and here's 8 or 9 or 10 or 30 fucking kids. All have agreed we're going to kick his fucking ass. The bully is now terrified. And I can guarantee you that's where Putin is at. They're so broke and their economy is so fucked up that he started doing what I predicted he would do 2 years ago when I first started doing videos about the war. First thing I said was he can't afford it. And then I said he absolutely can't afford it for more than a year or two. And now he's threatening he's going to kick NATO's ass. Buddy, you're getting your butt handed to you by Ukraine because they don't want you. They don't want to be ruled by Russia. They don't want your corrupt, just horrible fucking government where a reporter says Vladimir Putin is doing the wrong thing and all of a sudden you're in a fucking gulag. People don't want that. And now he has started doing what I said he would do 2 years ago. He will start these oligarchs, okay? They're going to start dying mysteriously, and all of their assets will start being moved over to Russia from these individuals. That's exactly what happened day before yesterday. They acquired 3 metallurgical plants from oligarchs, and that person has now been charged with all kinds of shit. I can tell Vladimir Putin you're making a giant mistake because pretty soon all these other oligarchs are going to go, I'm next. I'm right in line. I'm next. Fuck, they're going to take my aluminum plant. They're going to take my oil production facilities. They're going to take my shipping conglomerate. That's what they're all thinking. I believe that he's desperate and scared. This is why he is so dedicated to interfering in our election for 2024. He would like nothing better for Donald Trump to become president, but I think he's starting to understand that's not going to happen. I think that his secret services, who he listens to, unlike Donald Trump, who disses ours, I think Putin understands better than anyone else because he was in the middle of it that this information is true and correct, that Donald Trump's going to get his ass handed to him, and so is the entire Republican Party, and he is going to be fucked. All he did was kicked a beehive, and now you got Finland and Sweden. You have these other countries. Everyone wants to be part of NATO now. And these other little satellite countries around him are starting to go, yeah, you know what? We don't want you either. We don't want you either. You don't do anything for us. And he's going to kick NATO's ass. Buddy, that is laughable. That is fucking laughable. You can see right now that they can't stop drones from attacking deep inside Russia. They can't stop dissidents from attacking and blowing up train tunnels and shit 1,000 miles from the border of Ukraine. And he's gonna tell you, NATO, I'll widen the war, dude. What? You're getting your ass handed to you right now by Ukraine. Somebody decided that they're not going to put up with it, which is what I did in school. I was always the young, skinny little kid with a big mouth. And bullies didn't like me because I called bullies bullies. You know why? Because I didn't mind getting in a fight. I didn't mind getting my ass kicked. As a matter of fact, you can kick my ass 3 times a week. I don't care. I was bored anyway in school. And so what bullies learned was, if you fuck with that little skinny kid, he's going to fuck with you back. You're not going to pick on him and get away with it. What's going to happen is he is going to take whatever ass whipping you can deal out, or you're going to take whatever ass whipping he could deal out, but it's not going to be for free. He is not a victim. And I'm basically the sheriff in my neighborhood. If people get picked on in my neighborhood, I go respond. I went down here and banged on these people that were giving the neighborhood a hard time. And I put a flyer up right out in front of their house on the fucking telephone pole, okay, that I would pay $1,000 for any illegal activity reported by apartment such and such. Anyone that gets bothered or whatever by apartment such and such, let me know. There's a reward. They moved. The kid tried the intimidation factor with me. Oh, I'm crazy, motherfucker. I'm crazy. And I told him, I don't care. I don't care. And I told him in the most bland and boring way possible, as he's standing across the street with his back to me doing the muscle thing. I'm fucking crazy, dude. And I'm like, I don't care. And he understood right then that I didn't care. I didn't care. There are no longer victims in my neighborhood. We're not going to be your victims, okay, for your satisfaction. This is what happens to bullies. Vladimir Putin has just been told, I don't care. From now on, okay, you are now in a new position. All you did was made NATO bigger, destroyed your economy, ruined your reputation in the fucking world, and showed everyone that your military equipment is garbage. What did he accomplish? You see, that's why we don't want Donald Trump as president of our country, because he wants to do the same thing. He wants to destroy it because he's not smart enough, not intelligent enough, not logically thinking enough to solve problems, because those problems are America's problems. They're not his problems. Therefore, he could give a fuck. He's going to help out billionaires because it helps him out. Simple as that. But now he's finding out, you see, the dominoes are starting to fall, and he's now getting desperate. He only wants to run for president because he wants to stay out of jail, and Vladimir Putin is in the same fucking position. He has now been indicted by the world courts. And he understands that if he's not fucking president of Russia, that he could be in serious trouble. And therefore, all dissidents, Navalny, who was going to be exchanged in a prisoner exchange, these people have to be gotten rid of. He cannot have Russians thinking they can shirk him off of their shoulders. So when I hear him say to Macron, threatening with, we'll just widen the war, bro, it's pretty goddamn obvious. You can't widen shit, okay? You're sending tanks from the 50s to Ukraine, okay? You're using multi-million-dollar missiles to blow up apartment buildings of no value other than just killing and trying to demoralize the Ukrainian people, which you're just doing the opposite. Violence begets violence. I was never a believer in drone striking weddings in Iraq because, yeah, you might have killed 20 of these guys, but what you created was 100 more. And look at the fucking mess that's over there now. Okay? Everyone seems to forget that Donald Trump was the one that made a deal with the Taliban. Donald Trump was the one that set a deadline to get out. Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. Okay? He fucked it all up. Not Joe Biden, not the American people, not Congress, not the Senate. It was Trump. I think he's awakened to the fact that he's in trouble. Even if he wins, what am I saying? Even if he wins, when he wins the presidency again, he'll just have to do it again next time. But I believe between this election, which he's going to win, okay, and the next election, things are going to change drastically for him. I believe the oligarchs have had enough. I keep saying he's going to fall down an elevator shaft onto some bullets. Putin is extremely paranoid right now. The way certain people are allowed to be around him, but certain people are not. He's not a go out and get in the crowd kind of person. This is why he uses lookalikes. Because he's terrified. He's terrified of his own people. I know that he understands there are Ukrainian people and Russian people in his country that would like to see him dead and are willing to sacrifice their lives to assassinate him. I think he knows that. So this is what happens to bullies. Sooner or later, okay, someone stands up to you. Sooner or later, some of your victims get together and decide they're tired of your shit. Threatening NATO. So, first off, Ukraine decided they're not going to be picked on, and they stopped you, threw your ass back through your door, and now you've been fighting them for 2 years, what you thought would take 2 weeks. And they're kicking your ass. You're having to send meat waves because when you send armor, it's immediately destroyed. And the way the world does combat is changing. And so when you're talking about attacking NATO, which the United States is part of, the forces and the weaponry that could be brought to bear on Russia, now we're talking about a 2-week battle. Now we're talking about a 2-week battle. There are weapons that we possess, sensor-fused weapons, that we used one time in Iraq, once, and we only used it once because it was so effective that I believe the United States Intelligence Agency said we don't want this technology spreading, although it was too late already. I followed the guy who invented the sensor-fused pucks, and for years that guy tried to get the military to buy it, and they just weren't going for it. They used that weapon one time and they wiped out an entire column of tanks by dropping 2 of these things from one fucking aircraft. And Russia's going to deal with that. They're going to deal with the thousands upon thousands upon thousands of long-range missiles that could be launched against Russia. What? The fact that every Ukrainian soldier would be supplied with night vision goggles, that kind of thing. You see, when you're a bully, you have to be careful with who you bully. You have to be very selective with who you bully, and they were selective. That's why first Crimea, then Ukraine, then whatever, I mean, he was never going to stop, and he won't stop because it's in his blood to reconstitute the USSR. But you see, the bullies finally realized he overextended himself. All he did was the exact opposite of what he chose what he thought he was going to accomplish in the beginning, because it was wrong thinking. See, because when you live within your own fucked up head, you start to think that your shit is all right, that all your decisions and choices are all good, because you're not listening to the right information. First off, all Putin gets is great news. All he got for the first year was great news. We're kicking their ass, when they weren't. When Ukraine was starting to understand that drone warfare now, where you could take a shoulder-launched man-pad, not even that, really, just anti-tank, cheapest anti-tank fucking missiles, strap them to a drone, and you could train drone pilots to hit the tanks exactly in their weak spots. And all tanks have the same weak spot. First off, the Russians as soon as they start being attacked, they jump out of their fucking tanks and run, leaving all of their hatches open. They were told not to do that. They don't give a fuck, because they're poorly trained, poorly motivated, and really don't fucking care. They just want to get the hell out and go. Then the Ukrainians, if you watch, what happens is you have the turret and then you have the body of the tank. They're attacking these tanks and armored vehicles directly between, right at the top of the weakest part of the armor, or the engine. And you don't have to penetrate much armor to destroy an engine. And now it's sitting there, it's useless. And then they come back with drone after drone after drone until the vehicle is destroyed. And they're going to take on NATO? Wow, Vlad, you're impressively fucking stupid.